everyone, Terry here with Micronics Training, and yesterday I recorded a video on how to use VIRL, V-I-R-L, the Virtual Internet Routing Labs from Cisco, to support fabric path testing and deployment. Now, since then, a number of people have contacted me letting me know that their version of VIRL isn't supporting the fabric path commands, or they have a version of VIRL where they can actually go in and set up the commands and type them in, but they're not actually forming the adjacencies that we saw in my video. Now, the reason for that is 9 times out of 10 related to the fact that you guys are going to be running an older version of the virtual NXOS operating system. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to walk you through how to update that process, and I'm going to point out where to update the images that we're going to be using, as well as updating the actual VIRL software itself. Now, what you see here is my VIRL screen. This is my Maestro, the client that we use to do our configuration. Now, we download this client directly from our VM itself. So what I've done is I've opened my VMware Fusion, and I have my screen here, which is going to be representative of the desktop of this machine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the IP address button. This is a default config. So what you see here is exactly what you're going to see in your virtual machine the moment you do the installation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the IP address, because what I want to do is I want to find out what IP address this device has on my network. And as you can see, it's 192.168.133.135. Your address may vary, and probably will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to browse to that address. I'm going to say 192.168.133.135, and I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to put me on my VIRL server GUI. Now, this is the user GUI. Now, what we see here is we could download our clients from here. We can also get information about support, any of the API documents, to include accessing online videos. But what I want to do is I want to focus on the user workspace management. Now, this is going to be something that you would have to log into. The login name is going to be UWMADMIN, and it's going to be the password that you're given by Cisco. And what we can see here is I'm running an environment, and you can see how much RAM it's using. I'm running 5 virtualized Nexus devices and 2 iOS devices, and you can see I'm running about 11, almost 12 gig of memory that I'm using out of 16 on this MacBook Pro. Now, where I want to go here is I want to go to the VIRL software button. It's a tab located on the left-hand side of the screen, and I'm going to hit it. Now, this is going to take a little while, unfortunately. We can see it's percolating up here. I got the little spinning barb, and I have no real idea as to why it is as slow as it is. But the point here is this is going to bring me to a console or to a screen where I get the capability of being able to see what versions of the VIRL software I'm running, which is basically just an SDN deployment of OpenStack. And you can also, or will also, be able to see what versions of my device images I have, all of the devices that are going to be supported by the software. So right now I'm just kind of like trying to take up enough time to wait for the screens to refresh, and they just have. So I'm going to come out, and what we'll do is I'm going to highlight what we have going on here. Now, I can hit check for updates. Now, I'm running the most recent software with regard to my package upgrades. So you can see here my VIRL core has a current version of 0.10.14.20, and the available version is going to be the same. Now, if there was a difference, so for instance, if there was a different version or a newer version, what I'd do is I get a small square located here. As you can see, I've got a small square down here for my VM Maestro for my Windows 32 client. And what you would do is you would click that, you would check that box off, and then you would come down here and you would say start the installation. Now, my recommendation to you is that if you opt to use this, upgrade things one at a time when and where possible. So for instance, as you can see, almost all of these items are one category, so I can update them as a group. Now I've gone in and I've just checked everything and hit the update button, and it's been problematic for me because it's taken a long time for it to update, and ultimately it seems like it times out. Either that or I'm just incredibly impatient, which could also be true. But the objective is to make sure that we're running the most recent versions of the software that we have. Now, I'm a Windows user. I'm a Apple user, not a Windows user. So I've never really focused too much on the Windows 32 client. However, I do have a demonstration machine that runs Windows that's running the 64-bit client. And as you can see, I'm up to date here. Now, this applies to the VIRL software itself. Well, Terry, you said that we would be able to look at how to upgrade images for devices. And we can if we scroll down. What you're going to see here is you're going to see everything from the application security appliance, the CSR 1000V, the iOS XRV, iOS V, the new iOS virtual layer 2, which is basically nothing more than an iOS switch, and ultimately NXOS V. Now notice here we have the current version and we have the available version. Again, if there was a difference between these two versions, I would have a small checkbox here that I could check with a green check mark, and then come down and install the operating system. So it's going to start the actual installation of the software itself. So if you're not running the most recent version of VIRL, or you're not running the most recent version of the device software, the binary files for the virtual iOS or the virtual NXOS, then obviously you're not going to be able to deploy a lot of the capabilities and a lot of the features that you're going to see me demonstrate either in class or in these videos. The other thing that I wanted to point out here is also the fact that we can verify what version of the software we're running by accessing the devices. Let me see, do I still have these running? Looks like all my Telnet sessions have closed. Should be just an issue of logging in, and it is. So I will say admin, admin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute the show version command. And what we're going to find here is the version that I'm running is listed right here. And see, it does say that it is Titanium. So it's Titanium D1 Kickstart. There's the Kickstart image, and the boot flash that I'm running is here. So just keep in mind that we want to make certain that we're using the most recent system build images. And if you want to get those, it's just a simple fact or a simple matter of going into that GUI that I demonstrated, logging in, and going to the VIRL software tab, wait for however long it takes for that screen to come up, and then once that's done, all you got to do is highlight the ones that you want to update. I recommend that you update all of the devices, but again, like I said, you may want to do them individually just to make sure that the upgrade takes place, and it is slow. So I'm hoping that Cisco's working on this, but if not, it's still a very, very useful and powerful tool, even though it doesn't do everything. So with that said, I hope you guys have a fantastic evening and keep studying. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.